Hi, and welcome to Issaquah Buzz, where we talk about all things business in Issaquah, from retail gossip to new restaurants. My name is Autumn Monahan, and I work with the city's communications team. And I'm here, as always, with one of my favorite coworkers, Jen Davis Hayes, who works in economic development, and we often gossip business together. So, welcome, Jen, and Happy New Year. This is our first, I think, podcast of the new year.
Yes. Happy New Year. We have a
Yeah.
lot to talk about.
We have so much to talk about. I feel like you and I have been on constantly chatting or connecting where I'm like, what about this? What about that? So we have a ton to cover today as far as just retail gossip. We actually don't have a business spotlight. We have so much other content to get through. So this will be a really exciting episode. I'm excited to dive in. There's a lot of things that are opened now over just the past probably 3 or 4 weeks for us to cover. So let's do a tour of Issaquah and start in one location and move on, because again, we've got so much. So where should we start?
So let's start at Pickering Square and Pickering Place. So that's over by Costco, and the Regent Bakery and Cafe is in the previous GameStop location. So by Michael's and PCC, it opened last week, and one of our coworkers checked it out last weekend. He said it is amazing for desserts, snacks, and he said especially cakes. And so I was looking on their website. It is yummy. They have other locations in Bellevue and others in the east side, but we've been waiting for that to open for a while, and so excited to go in and try that out.
I don't know if we were talking to the same coworker or someone different, but I also heard from someone who declared it the best cake of his life. And I was like, that is bold.
Wow. Well,
I know.
I'm glad our coworkers are going out and checking out these places and letting us know.
Yeah. So it was the review. I was like, okay, we need to go, and maybe we just need to do some, just business and research, right, for learning more for Buzz. But yeah, you and I should go.
Yep. So then across the parking lot from there, the Planet Fitness opened since our last podcast. And so it's, again, in the same strip as PCC. So after you eat all those cakes, you can go work out.
And that's massive. I peeked in and looked. There is so much capacity there. I've also seen so much anticipation and chatter online from folks of when is it opening? When is it opening? I'm checking every day. I'm calling. So I know there's a lot of anticipation and excitement from the community for that to open. So that's great news.
Yeah. So you can fulfill all those New Year's resolutions, right?
Yeah.
So then going back towards I-90 in that same center. So you remember where the Pier 1 used to be? Back then?
Yes.
So Mary Foods International is opening a location. So they used to be at Heritage Square, which is where Jack in the Box and Tipsy Cow are, many, many years ago. And they've been waiting to come back until they can find a great spot. So they're should be open by the time this comes out. And so I checked it out before it opened, and it's really, really nice. And they have a lot of hot bar kind of items they'll have, and produce, and an eating section. But of course, the normal other grocery items. They have halal meat and groceries and bakery and flowers, and they also do catering. So that'll be good. Another option for people who are trying to, do some supporting local businesses for their catering events.
That'll also be great, just even for Costco employees or those who can walk and grab something quick for lunch. That's exciting. I remember going back to Mayuri back in the day, and it was wonderful. So I'm excited they're back. It's always fun to explore new grocery stores. Not to completely nerd out, but it's one of my favorites. So I'm excited to go and check it out. All right, moving on to Mall Street. I was really excited about this, and not to bore our listeners too much with this, but so I have a young daughter who got a pottery wheel for Christmas, which was both a blessing and a curse, I'm going to have to say. She tried it out at home. I don't know much about how to create any form of pottery. It went okay. Watched a lot of YouTube videos, but I quickly realized she's got an interest that is above my skill set. And so when I heard we've got like a pottery studio coming to town, Northwest Pottery Collective, which is on Mall, it sounds like they're going to be offering a lot of classes for kids and for adults. And I even saw some pictures online where they've got all these wheels set up and expertise. So I'm so thrilled and excited. It's another form of art. I think that is brought to Issaquah and that we can all take classes and learn from. I'm quite excited to learn more about it.
Yeah, we have definitely been all of us at work talking about, okay, maybe we should, take classes together because, yeah, it just seems like the tactileness of doing it will, just really help reduce the stress and create something fun and probably laugh at with as at the end, but all in good fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, hopefully, yeah, there's laughter at the end and not, perhaps a bit more frustration than what happened with our home pottery wheel. So
Yeah.
excited for that. Yeah. And then nearby that also, it sounds like there's a new daycare, Stepping Stones Montessori. So formerly Sunnybrook Montessori, but sounds like changing just ownership and as a new school.
Yeah, so the Sunnybrook had closed and the building was for sale at 5th and Locust, so kind of behind Atlas Apartments.
Yeah.
It's kind of a tucked away space, but it's a really nice location if you are looking for daycare and drop off and head on to work or whatever you need to do. So,
It's great.
yeah,
Okay, now let's drive up. Drive up.
yeah,
Let's move to the Issaquah Highlands. A
yeah,
lot is changing there as well in good ways. So the old location of Big Fish restaurant, just right kind of in that, more of the business district area of the Highlands, has switched over to Taste of India Bar and Grill. I know that there was actually a holiday event of some coworkers that went there. They loved it. Really rave reviews. Really, really good, large menu. I'm quite excited. I've also seen a lot of posts from folks that live in the Highlands that are just excited about just what they're offering, and also really good service. I've heard too. So I'm excited to try that out. I was most
So I
surprised
need
they
to,
are offering breakfast.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I want to say that so it was Taste of India and then it became Highlands Bistro. So it's changed names, same owner.
got it.
So, and he changed the menu completely. So it's an American cuisine, is what he says. And so, yeah, so having breakfast place, which is
Hmm.
amazing.
There aren't many places to grab breakfast in the Highlands now that I think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
know.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yep.
That makes more sense now why they were excited about the menu that it has changed. So
Yeah.
that's, yeah, I'm excited to check that out. And then the previous location of Candy Marché, which I did frequent very often, and has been vacant for a while now because I think
Yeah.
they closed for a bit. So good news, there's something now in that space too.
Yeah, so there's a new salon there. So again, that's behind Zeke's in the Highlands, and so it's similar to. It's not going to be all the same kind of under a certain name, but you can rent out a chair, and so I was going to say it's similar to the Sola Salon, but not as you rent a chair versus a room. We
Hmm.
mentioned Sola Salon in past edition, so it's above the Ben and Jerry's and Harborstone Credit Union. And so I noticed when we were looking at new businesses in the end of last year, there were 6 new business licenses for Sola Salon alone in the past few months of 2024. So between that and this new salon behind Candy Marché, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for people to, as an entrepreneur, to be able to provide services, but also for residents to really find the person that gets your hair and your hairstyle and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and that you can literally walk to.
That's the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the best.
That's an amazing selection actually, right? Embedded
Yeah.
within a neighborhood. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. All right. So those are all things that we have opened, which is a lot for Issaquah in the past, I don't know, 3, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of scoops of things that are to come as well, too. The one that I probably have been tracking most intensely and that I've been chatting about with my neighbors and others is a place called Good Lazy Donuts. Actually, I heard about it from my neighbor who saw some of their posts. So this is a couple that have been selling donuts, I think mostly at farmers markets.
Yeah.
They have not, they don't have an actual physical location yet, but they're opening in the Highlands. So I've started following their social media, which is quite fun. So I recommend that's a good follow on Instagram. Again, Good Lazy Donuts. They had a story recently that I was sharing with a few friends where they were promoting their donuts for the week. Again, I think at a farmer's market, but really unique flavors. There was one that was roasted garlic and another that was smoked salmon. So
Oh,
also savory and sweet options, it
all
looks
right.
like. Yeah, yeah. And they were actually even featured in the most recent Issaquah Highlands. They've changed now their publication into more of a magazine. So they were featured in the magazine too. So I know there's a lot of excitement and interest from the community for them to open. We don't have an estimated opening date yet, but be reassured, I am watching very closely, and I will be there very soon after they open. So we're definitely tracking that. Quite excited.
Maybe we'll have to have a special, in the field edition of the Issaquah Buzz.
There you go. Yes, we'll eat all the smoked salmon donuts.
Yes, yes, it's healthy, right?
Yeah.
So we
So and then Coho Cafe is transitioning too.
Yeah, so they just recently closed, but were purchased by another restaurant, Razio Indian Restaurant and Bar. So that will open in the next few weeks or so, and they do have a location in Bellevue. Not quite sure if they're moving from Bellevue or they're opening a second edition a location. But I know a lot of people in the community have been really sad about Coho Cafe because it's been
Yeah.
there for a long time.
Yeah.
So we're thankful that we had such a great place to hang out in and enjoy the food. But the next restaurant they open will be, I'm sure, is just as good. So we have that. We have another restaurant cafe that's changing ownership and kind of focus. So Levant Cafe in Gilman Village. So that was like kind of where Bloom Juice was, near Aubrey's Clocks. And so it's becoming Berna's Cafe and Bakery. They're going to have Turkish pastries, warm drinks, and kind of a cool place to kind of hang out. So, we were just talking, there's not a lot of places to get a coffee or drink, and pastry to kind of, meet with friends and or a work meeting. And so this is another place then will be open in Gilman Village soon.
I think the demand is there. I mean, any other place that you're going to for a coffee and a pastry around town is pretty packed. So it's always exciting to hear about more options for that. I also saw on our list Wild Birds is relocating from Redmond. What's Wild Birds?
So it's a bird store that has bird feed and products and all that kind of stuff. Yes. So
Really?
those who have birds and bird houses for outdoors, indoors. Yes. So I'm not sure where they're locating yet, but they have been touting they're moving to Issaquah. So we're excited. And I got this tip from a person who goes there to buy bird seed. Now she's like, great, I can just come to Issaquah because she lives here. So that's really fun. Yeah. Yeah. So it's good to have a variety of stuff here.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's quite exciting. There's a lot of bird lovers in the community.
Yeah.
And actually surprisingly, like there's a lot of products you can buy around just bird watching or bird seed and feeders and all sorts of things. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. I also have been watching, Craw Bar has closed and has remained vacant for a bit, and that's down on Front Street downtown. And it's announced that it's I believe Dan Gui Chinese cuisine is how you pronounce it. They have a location in Bellevue, so I was sleuthing their menu of their Bellevue location. It looks awesome. It looks like just some really classic Chinese dishes. There's some that also look pretty unique, but other things like dumplings, and it just it sounded wonderful. So I already showed my husband. I was quite excited to have that option down on Front Street. So looking forward to them opening. I don't think there's an ETA yet. I do know that they applied for their liquor license, so they're inching forward to opening. So we're excited to welcome them to Issaquah as well. And then one other place, Nick's Magnificence.
Yes,
What is
that is correct. What is that? She says, right?
Yeah. So an indoor play area?
Yes, and it's for younger kids and elementary school age kids, but it's 18,000 square feet of inside play area. Okay, so that sounds like great just for parents who are trying to find something for the kids to do on a rainy day. And they also will have, some wine and beer for parents who are there. But Nick, the owner, has created a very hands-on experience. So he's hand built all these amazing things where kids can come into a town and, they have a real crane that he's built, and they can move it. There's a grocery store, a real fire engine. So it's just, I don't think you can imagine it unless you go there. So
Yeah.
he is going to open March 1st. We're so excited. And even if you don't have younger kids, there's going to be a retail store portion of that, which has some old fashioned toys, is what they're saying. So it'll be really fun. And again, another thing for families to do. It's going to be in the Mall Street area. So we're really excited. He has he's very creative and has an eye for like really quality kind of opportunities there. So I can't wait.
I have said for years, and I guess this is a parent that lives in Issaquah, that we need
Mhm.
something like this, right? That's
Yep.
indoors, especially during rainy season, but anytime.
Yeah.
Another spot for birthday parties or just something to go do with your kids. So I bet it's going to be immensely popular. I hope he is quite successful.
Yes.
That's great news. You mentioned birthday parties. I did want to mention too, another favorite of ours, Bricks and Minifigs. He
Oh, yeah.
recently opened in the back a birthday party room. And so I was there over the holidays making more minifigs for my kids. And they were hosting one of their first birthday parties. And the squeals and giggles from the kids in the back, they were having so much fun. And he's painted a really cool mural that, has Issaquah on it. And it's a really cool location. So if you're also looking for other birthday party locations, check out Bricks and Minifigs. Awesome spot. So,
That's
um,
great.
yeah. So we have been talking about Barnes and Noble pretty much in every edition of Issaquah Buzz for a while,
Hmm.
apologizing ahead of time. I think sometimes we get so excited when we have the news, and then we have to live with the fact that it takes a while to actually open something.
Yeah.
So do you have any updates? Just because I know our listeners have asked, a few have emailed us too, like, hey, what's going on?
What's going on? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had hoped they were going to open the end of January. So that's not going to happen, but it's not too far behind. So they're going to be, the construction's still happening until about the third week. So next week of January. So the third week of January. And then they get the keys to be able to move all the books and all the things in. So they are hoping mid-February they'll be open. So we're crossing our fingers. They open on Wednesdays. So if you're there on a Wednesday and they're not open, check the next Wednesday. But we will definitely be, screaming from the rooftops that they are open, and I'm really excited to, finally have them be in our community, and they want to get involved and make sure that the community knows they're there, what kind of books people want to see, all that good stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, open soon.
All right. Hold tight. I think just to mention it too, another thing that we're kind of holding tight on and a wait and see, but we're still tracking, is Taco Bell. So Taco Bell sustained damage from the windstorm. I know there's active work happening to do the repairs. It sounds like it's going to take some time, but Taco Bell is very beloved here in Issaquah, and we knew that from their remodel many years ago.
Yeah.
And just as part of connecting with our social team over the years, when that reopened, there was so much celebration and excitement. So I know we got an email from a listener that was like, what's up with Taco Bell? Know that we're tracking it, but that they do need some time just to finally get up and operational again. So more to come there. So we've talked about a whole lot of things that are opening, a lot of really good news. There's a few things though that have closed that we probably should be reporting on as well. So the first is one that I saw actually a whole lot of signs around this during the holidays that was like 50% off, 70% off sale. Never made it in to see kind of what the sales were, but it was, and I believe it was a quilting store. Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay, that was in Gilman Village.
Mhm. Yeah, it's right in front of the
Gossipium?
building.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that the name, or how to pronounce? We're not quite sure how to pronounce it. Gossipium? Anyway, so they closed, and I know there was a really heartfelt goodbye to all of the customers in this community on Facebook, but sorry to see them go. It's a really cool location. I'm excited to see what comes of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is sad to see, but it sounds like for the owner, it's kind of what made sense for them. And speaking of heartfelt messages. There was
Yeah.
another heartfelt message on Facebook from the owners of 96 Front Street. And so they have officially closed, and we know they have tried, they made an amazing remodel of the space that used to be Yummy Yogurt, and they tried different things to kind of make it there, and they just decided they need to move on. And so, but the good news is there's a lot of interest. I've talked to the building owner, and he has a very interested business, and I don't want to mention it yet in case it doesn't come through, but
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be vacant that long, and it'll be an addition to downtown, which we, as far as being able to go and have some options. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. Uh, Kind of shifting in other locations. So I went to Trader Joe's recently, and I'd heard from you before we were recording that Ross was closing.
Mhm.
I was shocked when it was just a couple days ago, and there was, it was already closed and the sign was already gone. So that happened really quick. I don't think we missed out on many sales from what I can tell. I think they probably just moved their inventory elsewhere, but that's a large commercial space. I'm really intrigued what will happen there. But I think we've learned now over time, especially with Barnes and Noble and others, that could take some time for us to hear more about what's
Mhm.
next and for something to actually open there.
Yeah.
Um,
But they're just like when Bed Bath and Beyond went out, they're gonna look for a business type of the Barnes and Noble that really makes sense for Issaquah and is a draw. So I have no doubt they're gonna replace it with a great new tenant,
yeah,
but we don't know what it is yet. So,
yeah, yeah.
but we'll let
And
you know
and
when we can say.
the uniqueness of that space too, I'm sure, it has to be a specific type of tenant to find,
Mhm.
right? And one that fits with kind of who you've got in Issaquah and, what kind of businesses are needed here. So I think, sometimes that can take patience and time, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know that they're talking to several retailers though. So again, there's
Hmm.
always a line of people who are interested.
Yeah.
And even though it's a larger space,
Yeah.
so we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. And then lastly, one that we're also tracking is that Dickie's Barbecue, just so everyone knows, is closed at the moment. So not sure kind of what's next for them, but just know that if you're planning to go right now, to check in or call ahead if you plan to, just because we've seen that they've been closed for a bit. And I saw some chatter online about that of folks who tried to go. So there's some signage up there that there's an indefinite closure for a period. So hoping that everything is okay there. All right. That was a lot, Jen.
Yeah. It's going to be so many new businesses opening up. I mean, just from our coming soon and then, new ones that we hear about.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun
Yep.
year.
It is. It's going to be a really fun year. I'm excited. All right. So just so you know, we have another sister podcast. It's called Uniquely Issaquah. It's hosted by Mayor Mary Lou Polly. This is something that our communications team launched in that oftentimes there's these community stories that are more longer form, or that a podcast really, is just a perfect venue to be able to do some interviews and back and forth and really dive into a topic. And they've just been really fun. So it's a great way for Mayor Polly to get out and really share stories that are much more of a community building sense. So I'm really excited of the work that's going on there around this podcast. So check out our latest one. We're mentioning it here because it features a business. So Mayor Polly sits down with Danny Bohm, who's the co-owner of Formula Brewing, to talk about all the awards that brewery has collected now. And spoiler alert, but they had a beer that was named after Jacob Two Trees, our local troll. So I saw that recently when I was there at Formula. Loved it. I just loved the Issaquah call out. So check out that podcast to learn more about Formula Brewing, and also just get into knowing more about our podcast that we have at the city. So I encourage everybody to check that out. So that is a wrap on this edition of Issaquah Buzz. Thanks so much for joining us. Join us next time to hear more about business news. As we said, there's a lot more to cover in the months to come. And let us know if you have a favorite business or you hear some other retail gossip that you want us to track down. And we'll be sure to cover it in future editions. You can email us at ed@issaquahwa.gov. Thanks again.
Thanks.